Post 1. AITA for refusing to call my soon-to-be father-in-law Dad when he's 10 years younger than me? When I, 36M, proposed to my fiancée, Julie, 34F, I thought the biggest challenge would be seating charts, not figuring out how to handle a 25-year-old man who insists I call him Dad. Julie's mother, Donna, recently married a guy named Tyler. He's younger than both of us, a self-styled entrepreneur who doesn't appear to have any actual business. From what I can tell, he lives off Donna's savings and posts motivational videos about leadership from their backyard patio. Last week was the first time I met him in person. Donna had been hinting for months that he's brought order and discipline into her life. When I walked into their house for dinner, Tyler was waiting at the door wearing a blazer indoors, hand outstretched like a game show host. "Welcome, son," he said. "It's good to finally meet you." I laughed because I thought it was a joke. I said, "Thanks, man," and shook his hand. His smile tightened. "Not man. You can call me Dad," he said. I waited for someone to laugh. No one did. Donna beamed like she'd rehearsed this. "Isn't that sweet?" she said. "He wants everyone to feel like one family." I tried to deflect with humor. "Pretty sure I'm older than you, Dad," I said. Tyler didn't smile. "Age doesn't define hierarchy," he said. "Respect does." The dinner just got weirder from there. Tyler gave a speech about family structure and said that real men recognize leadership and tradition. He asked me what I do for work, IT consultant, and told me it's a soft profession. I nearly choked on my wine. Then he dropped the line that's been looping in my head ever since. "I would have appreciated if you'd come to me first to ask permission before proposing to my daughter." I blinked. "Your daughter?" I said. "You mean Julie?" He nodded solemnly. "As her father figure and the patriarch of this family, that's the proper way of doing things." Julie froze, mouth half open. I thought she'd tell him to stop, but Donna jumped in first. "He's right," she said. "It's a respect thing. We all call him Dad now, even Julie." I turned to Julie. "You call him Dad?" She looked mortified. "It's just easier," she muttered. I laughed again, but it came out hollow. "I'm sorry," I said. "I'm not calling a 25-year-old man Dad." Tyler crossed his arms. "You think you're too good for this family?" "No," I said, "but I'm also not out of my mind." The rest of dinner was silence and daggers. Afterward, Donna cornered me in the kitchen. "You embarrassed him," she whispered. "He's just trying to be accepted." I told her I'd accept him as her husband, but not as my father. She shook her head and said, "You'll learn your place." On the drive home, Julie apologized but said I should just play along because it means a lot to her mom. She said, "It's not worth the drama." I told her I can respect someone without pretending they raised me. She said, "Please, just drop it for now." That night, Tyler sent me a friend request on Facebook. His cover photo was a picture of him in sunglasses with the caption, "A real man commands respect, not attention." The next morning, Donna texted that Tyler felt emasculated by my attitude and that an apology would go a long way. I haven't replied yet. I'm honestly torn between disbelief and second-hand embarrassment for everyone involved. Julie keeps saying he's harmless, but it feels like the start of a power struggle I didn't ask for. The guy is 10 years younger than me, calls himself the patriarch, and apparently expects me to address him like he's my dad. So, am I the jerk for refusing to call my future father-in-law Dad, even though everyone in my fiancé's family insists on it? First comment, "You're not crazy. This is bizarre. If your fiancé's mom needs to live out her fantasy, fine, but you don't have to play along." Second comment, "Why are you making it a big deal? Just call him whatever he wants and keep the peace." Update 1. He says I disrespected the head of the household. I wasn't planning on posting an update this soon, but things somehow got even more ridiculous. After that dinner, I tried to take Julie's advice and let it go. We didn't bring up Tyler or Donna for a week, and I figured it would fade away. I was wrong. Donna texted Julie a few days ago, asking if we could come over for Sunday brunch to clear the air. I said no thanks, but Julie really wanted to go. She hates conflict and said we could at least show good faith before the wedding. Against my better judgment, I went. When we walked in, Donna was chipper, pretending nothing had happened. Tyler, on the other hand, was waiting at the table, arms crossed, like a manager about to conduct a performance review. He had an actual printed letter in front of him. He started by saying he appreciated my apparent willingness to reflect and hoped I had learned a lesson in humility. I said, "Excuse me?" He slid the paper across the table. It was a handwritten list titled Family Expectations Before Marriage. I wish I was exaggerating. It had stuff like, all male members of the family will defer to the patriarch, Tyler, in decisions regarding family events. Permission must be sought before proposing major plans affecting Julie's future. Address should always be respectful. Dad, Sir, or Mr. Thompson. I read the whole thing and honestly started laughing because it was so surreal. I asked, "Is this a prank?" Donna frowned. "You're making it difficult again," she said. Tyler went on about how he's trying to restore proper masculine order and how Julie and her mom deserve a stable hierarchy. I said, "So your idea of stability is everyone pretending you're their father?" He said, "Not pretending, accepting. If you marry into this family, I am your father figure." Julie was staring at the table, shaking her head. She whispered, "Tyler, stop." He ignored her. "You've embarrassed this family twice now." A man who won't show respect doesn't deserve a seat at this table. That's when Donna's looked at me and said quietly, "You know, you could just show him some respect and avoid all this. He's trying to hold everyone together." I didn't even respond. I just sat there in stunned silence. It was like being in some weird parody of Succession, written by a life coach. Finally, I stood up and said, "Julie, I'm leaving. You can come if you want." Tyler scoffed and said, "You're proving my point." Donna shouted after me, "You're being dramatic." When we got home, Julie apologized again and said she's embarrassed by how her mom has changed. She admitted Tyler's controlling, but begged me not to confront him again because it'll blow up. Since then, Tyler has been blowing up my phone with texts like, "A real man knows when to admit fault." I'm still waiting for that apology. It's not too late to join this family the right way. I haven't responded to a single one. Julie says she's worried about how this will affect our wedding, but I'm starting to wonder if I even want these people anywhere near it. So yeah, apparently I'm a disrespectful son for not signing my life over to a guy who can't even rent a car without an underage fee. Am I still the jerk for refusing to call my fiancé's stepdad dad and not apologizing for walking out? First comment, this is cult behavior. Do not marry into this until you both establish boundaries. Second comment, you're making things worse by refusing to play along. It's just a word. Sometimes you have to pick your battles. Update 2. He tried to give me a lecture on manhood at a family BBQ. Julie and I tried to keep things low contact with her mom and Tyler after the family expectations disaster. But last weekend, Donna invited us to a backyard barbecue for her birthday. Julie begged me to go. She said it would mean a lot, and that she didn't want to disappoint her mom again. Against my better instincts, I went. Spoiler, it went about as well as you'd expect. When we arrived, Tyler was already holding court at the grill. He wore a chef's apron that said, "The man, the myth, the legend," and was barking commands at everyone like it was a military drill. Donna looked exhausted, but was pretending to find it charming. Every few minutes, he'd clap someone on the back and call them champ or soldier. The first 30 minutes weren't awful. I kept to myself, chatted with Julie's cousins, and avoided eye contact with Tyler. But then he made a toast. He banged his beer bottle on the picnic table, grinning. Before we eat, I just want to thank everyone for respecting the family order. It's nice to be surrounded by people who understand real values. Then he looked right at me. Some people are still learning. The whole yard went quiet. Julie squeezed my hand under the table and whispered, "Please don't." I said nothing. He smirked and went on. A lot of men these days think respect is optional. They hide behind sarcasm and weak boundaries because they're afraid of hierarchy. Everyone laughed awkwardly. I tried to keep calm, but I could feel my ears burning. This time, I didn't even flinch. I just stared into my drink and said nothing. Julie looked mortified, but I was done playing along. Tyler strutted over and clapped me on the shoulder. "Don't worry, son. I'll make a man out of you yet." I stood up and took my plate into the house to cool off. He followed me inside, shut the door behind us, and said, "You keep disrespecting me in front of my wife. You think that makes you look strong? It makes you look small." I told him, "You're not my dad, Tyler. You're not even my peer. You're just my fiancé's mom's husband. That's it." His face turned red. "You're a coward." "A real man asks permission before taking what's his." I said, "A real man doesn't need permission to live his life." He barked out a laugh and said, "We'll see how long you last when you marry into this family." I walked right past him, told Julie we were leaving, and drove home in silence. That night, Donna called Julie sobbing that I'd humiliated Tyler. According to her, he felt emasculated again and might not come to the wedding if I didn't apologize. I said, "Good." Julie told her we'd think about it, but when she hung up, she admitted she's tired of defending him. "He's making my mom miserable too," she said. She's just too afraid to admit it. Since then, we've had total radio silence from both of them. No texts, no calls. Honestly, it's been peaceful. Still, part of me wonders if I should have just swallowed my pride for Julie's sake. But then, I think about Tyler lecturing me on manhood while living off his wife's retirement fund, and I stop feeling guilty. So, Reddit, am I the jerk for walking out again instead of apologizing to my fiancé's overgrown frat boy of a stepdad? First comment, you're not wrong. Tyler sounds insecure and controlling, and Donna's too deep in it to see straight. Second comment, if you keep pushing back, you'll just make Julie's life harder. Sometimes you have to compromise to keep the peace. Update 3. They tried to ambush me with a family meeting. A few weeks passed after the barbecue fiasco, and things finally seemed quiet. No texts, no motivational Facebook quotes from Tyler about obedience or manhood, no guilt-tripping from Donna. Julie and I actually started to feel normal again. Then came the ambush. Donna invited Julie to lunch, just us girls, and Julie agreed, thinking it'd be harmless. But when she got there, Tyler was sitting at the table with a notepad. According to Julie, he said they were holding a family meeting about our communication issues. Julie told me afterward that she almost walked out right there, but she stayed because she wanted to keep the peace. She said Tyler did most of the talking, lecturing her about respecting family structure and how disunity breeds chaos. Donna just sat beside him, nodding along like she was hypnotized. At the end of the meeting, Tyler said he wanted to schedule one with me next week so we could reconcile like men. He said, and I quote, "I'll show him what healthy male leadership looks like." When Julie came home and told me, I laughed so hard I nearly cried. I told her flat out, no way. That night, I got a long text from Donna. It started polite. "We'd love to have you both over for dinner. but quickly turned into a guilt trip about how family only works if everyone accepts their roles. She ended it with, "Tyler deserves respect. Please come ready to apologize." Julie read it, sighed, and said, "They're not going to stop until you give in." I told her I'm not apologizing to a guy who keeps acting like he's my superior because he married someone's mom. She said, "I know. I just wish she'd wake up." Anyway, I didn't go to their family meeting. I texted Donna a simple, "Julie and I won't be attending. There's nothing to discuss." An hour later, Tyler sent me one of his signature rants. "You're showing your true colors. No wonder you need her to be your backbone." Pathetic. I didn't reply. But the fallout's spreading. Donna's now telling everyone that I've divided the family and that Julie's turned against her husband's wishes before the wedding. Tyler posted a vague Facebook status saying, "When weak men refuse to lead, strong men must step in." The irony is, the more he pushes, the more Julie sees him clearly. She told me last night she's done making excuses for them. "You were right," she said. "He's not trying to unite anyone. He just wants control." We decided that if this keeps up, we're not inviting them to the wedding at all. So, AITA for completely cutting off my fiancé's mom and her power-hungry boy toy stepdad instead of making peace before the wedding. First comment, "They sound like they're running a cult with only 2 members. You're not wrong for walking away." Second comment, "You should have gone to the meeting just to be polite. Sometimes diplomacy works better than pride." Update 4. He called me his disobedient son at our wedding rehearsal. We decided to go through with the wedding, but Julie and I agreed to keep contact with Donna and Tyler minimal. She invited them to the rehearsal dinner because she still hoped they'd at least behave in public. I told her I'd give them one last chance, but that was it. Big mistake. The dinner started fine. Everyone was mingling, the food was great, and for a brief moment I thought maybe they'd decided to act normal. Tyler even came over, shook my hand and said, "Let's keep it civil tonight." I was shocked enough to say, "That'd be nice." About halfway through the evening, my best man started giving a short toast about how happy he was for Julie and me. He mentioned how long we'd been together and how much we'd been through, and everyone clapped. That's when Tyler stood up. He clinked his glass loudly and said, "If I may add something." Donna tried to tug on his arm, whispering, "Tyler, don't." But he grinned and said, "No, no, it's fine. This is a family moment." He turned to me and said, "I just want to say I'm proud of my disobedient son here for finally learning his place." You could have heard a pin drop. He went on, "It's been a rough road getting him to understand how families work, but I think he's coming around. Isn't that right, son?" Julie looked like she wanted the earth to swallow her whole. My best man just muttered, "Oh my God." I said, "Tyler, stop." He laughed. See? That tone right there still got a bit of rebellion in him. Donna chimed in again from the back of the room. "Oh, come on, he's just teasing." Learn to take a joke. I didn't freeze this time. I looked straight at her and said, "It's not a joke when it's been happening for months." Then I turned to Tyler and said, "You're not my father. You're not even close. You're a guy who married someone's mom and can't stop trying to play king of the hill." He went red and barked, "Watch your mouth." I said, "No, I'm done watching it. You've disrespected me, my fiancé, and every boundary we've set. You can leave or sit down and be quiet. Pick one." Donna started crying, whispering, "Tyler, please." He slammed his napkin down, stormed out, and yelled, "Ungrateful brat!" on the way out the door. The rest of the room was silent until Julie's uncle started clapping, and then a few others joined in. Not like a cheer, more like quiet support. Donna came by the next morning, alone, apologizing for Tyler's behavior and saying she understood if we didn't want him at the ceremony. She looked so small, like all the fight had gone out of her. I told her she was still welcome, but Tyler wasn't. She said softly, "I don't know if I can come without him." I said, "Then you'll be missed." She cried again, hugged Julie, and left. The wedding went on without them, and it was honestly perfect. No drama, no lectures, no patriarch, just peace. I haven't heard a word from Tyler since, though Donna's been sending polite texts now and then. So, AETA for banning my fiancé's stepdad from our wedding after he called me his disobedient son in front of everyone? First comment, not even close. You handled that perfectly. You drew the line, and Julie backed you up. Second comment, I get that he's awful, but banning family from weddings can create lifelong resentment. You sure it was worth it? Update 5. Donna showed up alone. A week after the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number that just said, "Can we talk?" It was Donna. She wrote that she'd left Tyler. Apparently, the blow-up at the rehearsal dinner was the breaking point for her. She said that after storming out, Tyler ranted the whole night about how ungrateful everyone was, and that she'd let her daughter marry a boy who disrespects his elders. When she told him to drop it, he told her she was lucky to have him. That was it for her. She stayed with a friend for a few days, then packed up what little was actually hers and moved into a small apartment across town. She looked tired but relieved when we met for coffee. She said, "You were right about him. I just didn't want to admit it. I kept thinking he'd get better if I tried harder." Julie teared up and hugged her, and I'll be honest, I felt for her too. Donna might have been complicit, but it was clear she'd been manipulated. She told us Tyler's been blowing up her phone, alternating between begging and threatening, but she's done. Then she smiled, first genuine smile I'd seen from her, and said, "You two gave me courage. Watching you stand up to him reminded me I could too." As for Tyler, he's apparently left town. Word is, he tried to start some consulting business, but ended up in debt and moved to another state after some clients called him out for shady billing. Julie and I have kept boundaries, but invited Donna over for dinner last weekend. It was quiet, warm, normal. She even helped me fix a crooked picture frame and laughed that she finally found a real son-in-law worth the title. The house feels lighter now. No tension, no fake hierarchy, just peace. Looking back, it's wild how much energy that man drained out of everyone around him. And for months, I kept wondering if I should just keep the peace, be polite. But sometimes, peace isn't worth the price of silence. I don't think Tyler will ever admit what he did was wrong, but it doesn't matter anymore. He's out of our lives, and Donna's finally free. So, I guess the story ends here. The self-proclaimed patriarch lost his family, and the people he tried to control are all doing better without him. First comment, I'm glad Donna got out. It takes a lot of strength to leave someone like that. You handled it perfectly. Second comment, feels like karma came full circle. Tyler's downfall sounds almost poetic. Final update, 6 months later. It's been half a year since the wedding, and I can honestly say life is peaceful for the first time in a long time. Julie and I settled into married life without the shadow of family drama hanging over us. We both still work long hours, but weekends are quiet, and we've built our own little traditions. Sunday brunch, game nights with friends, and long walks with the dog we adopted a few months ago. Donna stayed in town. She got a steady job at a local bookstore and rents a small apartment nearby. She comes over once a week for dinner, sometimes brings dessert, and never mentions Tyler anymore. It's like she's rebuilding herself one small joy at a time. She told me once, "I used to think family meant keeping everyone together, no matter what. But sometimes it just means choosing peace." That stuck with me. Tyler, on the other hand, is gone. Rumor is he tried to start another leadership coaching business in another state, but it didn't last. Someone sent Julie a screenshot of one of his Facebook posts. He's living out of an RV and posting about resilience. Fitting, I guess. Every now and then, Donna gets an email from him, all bluster and regret rolled together. She doesn't reply. She just forwards them straight to a separate folder she calls Noise. Looking back, I don't regret a single thing. If I'd tried to keep the peace or apologize just to smooth things over, I'd still be stuck walking on eggshells around a man who thought respect was the same thing as obedience. The best part is watching Julie glow again. No guilt, no pressure, just us. So, no, I wasn't the jerk for refusing to call a 25-year-old my dad. I was just the first person in that house to stop pretending. And when I see Donna laughing across the dinner table now, free and happy, I realize it was worth every uncomfortable moment to get here. Moment to get here. Moment to get